In this video, we're going to start a few videos that are going to be pretty short and sweet to help us get some SSL configured for our system. What I want to point out is that before we do all this, if we were deploying our application to the real world, most of the time our real web server would have a valid SSL certificate, which would be created by a third party, such as VeriSign. And they're expensive, you can pay for them, you get it all configured, you get it set up, and it works for the entire server. And what that does is it encrypts traffic across gets and posts and makes sure that everything is confidential. However, for the purposes of this demonstration, what I'm going to do is create a locally signed certificate, and we're going to configure our Tomcat container to go ahead and use that SSL in order to do some communication. And what this will allow us to do is actually block a specific area of our application from working without having HTTPS protocol or encrypted traffic. So the first step in this process is for us to create a local key. To do this, I am actually going to use right off the tomcat.apache.org page. This is Tomcat 7 I'm on. We're going to be following along with SSL how-to. If you were on the page, you could actually find SSL as step 12. You could click on it, and it brings you to this page. So I'm using Windows, and once again, if you're using another version of an operating system, you may have to do something a little different, such as follow the Unix instructions here as well. Once you get this set up, you'll know because your server won't allow you to browse to it correctly, or you can see the certificate failure, which we'll see in a moment. But the first step, again, is going to be to create a locally signed key. So what we're going to do is browse to our Java home directory bin keytool, find the keytool.exe, and we'll run this command. Now, if we've set up our environment variables, we could simply just type in keytool. But we're going to go ahead and browse directly to that directory, so we open up a command window. We go to C Java JDK, that's our JDK that we installed at the beginning of the course, and here is where our Java and JavaC commands are. Well, we also have keytool here. So what we're going to do is go ahead and run the keytool and follow the instructions right off that page. Now this link for this page will be included in the WAR file, which we'll get to at step 3. So if you want to jump ahead and get the resource for the WAR file, that will be World Manager System SSL.war, and that will have the information for this link for Tomcat that we're looking at. Back to generating the key. It's very simple. All we do is say keytool. We say -gen-key, -alias, and then we'll name it Tomcat. And then we'll say -keyalg is RSA. You could specify a path to make this file in if you'd like. However, there's no need to do that. We'll go ahead and do this. So we'll just create it directly in our default directory. They suggest using the password change it. We're just going to go ahead and do that. CHANGEIT will be our password, CHANGEIT. So make sure that we have that. For this very first part here, we're going to get a bunch of questions about the certificate. Obviously, if you were doing this for the real world, we want valid credentials. We're doing this for a local demonstration, so it really doesn't matter. So I'm just going to put in Infinite Skills here for my last name, and then actually I'm just going to hit enter all the way down to the point where it asks me yes or no. And we're going to type in yes, and then it's going to try to generate the key. It'll say the Keystore is generated, and now this is very important. Use the same password that we used before, change it, and change it again, and that will have created the key. So if we go and look at our user directory, we now have a file called .keystore, and that .keystore file is the one that we want to use in order to generate our SSL on our local server. So that wraps up part 1 of generating a local key.